Hi, I'm Peggy Farron, and you are watching the Understand Photography Show, where we talk about travel, nature, and fine art photography. Today we're going to talk about Instagram strategies with Rob Hoovis. So if you've got a photography business, you need to be on Instagram. You're going to learn a lot. But first, remember to sign up for one of our freebies that we have on our website, which is understandphotography.com. So understandphotography.com, right on the front page, you'll see a little button that says, click here for freebies. We've got a couple of downloads on travel essentials for photographers. So if you're traveling and you're going to, or if you want to go out for travel photography, Joe Fitzpatrick put together a wonderful, it was actually a presentation that we put into a PDF, so it's really, really complete. What camera do I need to buy? That's a really popular video that I made. You know, I've got not really strong opinion, but I have an opinion on what's a great, great camera to start out with. What you need to learn in photography. That's the one I want you to download, because what most photographers now do is they piecemeal their education. They'll take a class here and they'll do a YouTube video there, and then they never really fully learn what they're doing, and they have a lot of frustration. It takes them a long time to learn just to get that good foundation in photography. So this will give you a roadmap. You know, obviously we offer classes, but if you don't take the classes from us, at least you'll know what classes to take. And then the third and the most recent download we have is 30 unique and practical gifts for photographers. And we've got some real cool stuff in there, so check that out. Remember that this show is on Facebook, YouTube, and it's a podcast on anything that you listen to podcasts on, but of course iTunes is the big one. So if you would leave us a review, we would be so grateful. It is so helpful for us if you leave us a review, a good review hopefully, on iTunes. So anyway, my guest today is Rob Hoovis. Welcome, Rob.
Thank you for having me.
Second time here.
This is my second time
you
here.
Must have done a good job last time.
I guess so. I hope so.
And you know what I forgot to do? I wanted to look up the episode number that you were on.
Okay.
So I could say it.
I don't recall it either.
I'm going to look it up. When I say I'm going to look it up, I mean Heather is going to look it up and put it in the show notes so you can watch the other. We talked about night sky photography.
We talked a lot about night sky photography, yes.
But we did touch on Instagram because you're so good
absolutely.
at it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So today, okay, let me introduce Rob. I say hello and then I didn't introduce him. So Rob is the owner of Old Sparky Productions, which is a video and photography company in Fort Myers, Florida. He's got an amazing Instagram account. You need to subscribe. It's Hoovis Yo. So H-O-O-V-I-S-Y-O, Hoovis Yo. He has a following of over 27,000 people. His pictures are amazing. He does a lot of sunsets, night sky, stuff like that. How did you come up with Hoovis Yo? I forgot.
I really just, people used to say, yo, Hoovis, to me all the time when they were, you know, trying to get a hold of me or hollering for me. So I just said, Hoovis Yo. Just seemed like an easy one. And nobody has the last name Hoovis, not too many people, so it was easy, short.
Hoovis Yo.
Yeah.
That's easy to remember.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't in my notes and I remembered it. All right, so let's talk about Instagram because okay, let me just tell you my story. I have a lot of trouble keeping up with social media, and I think I'm pretty typical. I think most small business owners, we have so much to do. And then it's like, well, you have to have a Facebook page, and you have to have an Instagram page, and you have to have a YouTube channel and everything, right?
Yeah.
So Facebook, you know, we have the show we put on Facebook. We post a little bit on Facebook.
Okay.
But, you know, whatever. We've got a group within Facebook, facebook.com/groups/understandphotography. So we have a lot of Facebook stuff. So this summer I said, I've got to get something going with Instagram. So I hired, actually I think it took 3 interns because interns don't come to work very often, I'm learning.
Right.
But anyway, I hired 3 interns from the college who got me set up. With a business Instagram account.
Gotcha.
Which I don't know if the business account is the right way to go or not, but whatever. But I thought there's no way that I can keep up with posting something every single day. So one of them set me up on Later.
Okay, yep.
I think it's later.com.
Yeah, the scheduling.
It's a scheduling thing. And so now I pay one of them. She's just works from home or whatever. So once a month, my goal is to get 30 pictures to her. and then she puts them on and she looks up quotes and things
Sure.
like that. It's not been very effective.
Okay.
I got maybe 400 followers since June, and
Okay.
it's January. I don't
Yeah.
know when we're going to air this, but we're taping it in January.
Okay.
So obviously I'm not doing something right.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you're talking about the business account when you say that?
Yeah.
You know, if are you paying for, they want you to, on a business account, from what I understand, they want you to pay for one thing for those to be seen. And that's kind of frustrating, and I think that may be a part of it.
Okay.
And then, you know, I know that people on Instagram that, from what I'm aware of, I tend to post, and I hate to say this, but based on what people almost expect
Okay.
of me. So I've built a following based on certain photos, and I take all kinds of photos, but I post certain types of photos based on kind of what the, I guess, audience, you'd call it, you know, expects.
Okay.
So, you know, it's I guess about the content too, but if you have a business account, they do want you to pay.
So maybe that's the problem. I listen to these, you know, college students, and they maybe didn't know that or whatever.
Yeah.
So, well, now, so do you know, so what is the Instagram algorithm? What is that? What does that mean?
Well, it's their algorithm, which is designed to, in theory, you know, show your posts to people. A mathematical equation based on all sorts of things that is ever changing, that gets your posts out to the world.
To the right, to the people that they think will be interested.
Yes, yes. So to your own following, you actually, at one point it was 10%, now it's like 7% that they'll even organically or naturally show it to. And then if enough of those people like the photo or comment on it or what have you, it's crazy. You have to put stories up. There's all kinds of parts of that puzzle, of the algorithm puzzle, to have your photo seen.
So if I have 400 likes, let's say, or what are they, followers? Okay, so I have 400 followers. So you're saying, well, especially because I have a business account, but let's say I had a personal account. You're saying out of 400 followers, only 7% are going to...
Well, and you know, I think that for one thing, the smaller your following, actually, in theory, the more people the more percentage of people should kind of see it. But from what I understand, they're limiting the posts viewing in the first hour to 7 to 10% of your following, and if enough of that percentage of people like it, then they'll push it out to more people.
Wow.
And then they'll possibly put it on the explore page, which then helps it get seen as well. But
oh, see, I didn't even know there was such a thing as
yeah,
the explore
yeah.
page.
I mean, it used to be a real simple thing. It used to be that you had followers, you put a photo up, people that followed you saw that photo. If you put hashtags on it, people that searched those hashtags could see that photo, and it worked like it doesn't work like that anymore at all.
At all?
No, not at all.
Not even a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, they want you, if you are going to get like an organic, like I have to spend way too much time on Instagram. I don't like it, the amount of time that I have to spend on Instagram. The stories that I do, they want you to, that's a portion of the algorithm, they want you to use their stories, you know, because that's kind of like their Snapchat.
Right.
And, you know, then you have to go and comment on a bunch of people's things and like a bunch of things and be on Instagram a certain portion of the day to then when you post, they maybe liked the amount of time you were on, the amount of comments that you made, the amount of stories that you put up, and you may have a better chance of getting your photo seen.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's really a lot. It's really frustrating.
Okay.
So, you know.
So how, like if somebody was just starting out today, what would your advice be? Like if they don't have an account at all?
Yeah.
Now let me back up a little bit, because I think Heather had a really good question. It's probably in here somewhere. Is it worthwhile to your business?
It has been, actually. The follower count itself is kind of a currency that people, and again, I think this is kind of unfortunate, that you're seeing, there are photographers out there with 100 followers that are way better than I'll ever be, okay? But your follower count is a currency to people that legitimizes you. And so if somebody sees, oh, he's got a bunch of followers, that must make him good. That's somebody I want to deal with. And so I never mention my business, very rarely. Occasionally, I'll put something up that I did as a job or what have you. But it has helped my business tremendously. I've sold prints, and I've got regular jobs. Just jobs people have hit me up and say, hey, I saw you on Instagram. Can you do our roofing video, for instance, was one that job that I just got, where I did a roofing marketing video for a company, and they found me through Instagram. And nothing related to, obviously, to roofing or business or even video production. But they saw that, and they saw that I did some video stuff, and they contacted me.
Wow.
Yeah, so it has been very helpful.
And you know, I had a show here with Gary Farber from Hunt's Photo and Video, and it was all about how do you get a sponsor. And he said, we don't even look at somebody if they have less than 20,000
Sure.
followers or whatever they're called on social media. They won't even consider someone.
Oh no, that's it's very tough to, and it's tough to, even if you have a bunch. Now a lot of people, you know, have a bunch of followers, and so it's hard to even get a sponsor as a person, you know, any sort of sponsor as a person that has a bunch of followers. But I've gotten some like paid jobs where people wanted to do partnerships, where they wanted me to shoot the type of photos that I shoot for their brand.
Oh, okay.
That's happened. That was fun.
That's kind of cool.
Especially
since it's what you are so good
exactly.
at.
Yeah, that's what I really love. And I've gotten to work with the islands of Sanibel and Captiva recently on both some photo and video projects. And that was, again, kind of because of Instagram.
Because you've got a big following, you must be a big shot.
Right. Well, yeah, and with them it may have been a little bit different. Because so many of the photos that I have are also from the area.
Oh yeah.
I think that was helpful, and there are a certain style of photos that I've kind of tried to develop, I guess. You know? So I think with them it was a little different, but I'm sure that the following helps. You know, that amount helps. So yeah, it's been helpful.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do it. Help me out. What do I do? If I'm just starting out today, because I practically am.
Yeah.
Even though, since June? Let's say July I started. July, August, September, October, November, December. That's 6 times 30 is how many pictures is that? 180 pictures?
I can't do math, but it sounds like a lot. Yeah, 180.
It's hard to come up with 180 good pictures.
Sure.
30 every single month.
Sure, yeah.
And I'm sure I have them if I have organized enough to go through all my old hard drives, and if I knew Lightroom better. Too bad I don't take the own classes that we offer here at Understand Photography.
Right.
Anyway, so coming up with 30, it's been really hard for me.
Yeah.
So obviously that's not enough just to post every day.
Right.
So where do I begin?
I think for one thing, you know, I honestly couldn't tell you if I'm the best. I had a certain thing that I wanted to do. I got hurt. I broke my leg. I didn't have like a outlet. I'm a skateboarder, and I'm an old skateboarder, and so that energy had to go somewhere, and so I started taking more photos. And I have a family, so I can't get out except for at nighttime.
Okay.
And that's why everything that I have is some sort of close to night or night photo, or maybe very early in the morning. One way or another, that's the free time that I have, or the time that I can get away, is once the kids go to bed. So I don't know if I'm the best person to ask, but I started trying to make content that I thought was interesting. And there are little tricks. You do want to post often. You do want to hashtag close to, like, they let you use 30 hashtags.
Okay.
But you probably don't want to use 30 because they look at that as maybe it's spam.
Okay.
So like maybe 20 to 25 would be a good idea.
Okay.
You know, shoot interesting content is important, something that grabs people, a way to grab people. Unfortunately, like as landscape photographers, you want to shoot a photo in a landscape format a lot of times, right?
Oh, right.
And I tend to shoot or crop to the portrait format that they allow on there, the 4x5 portrait, because it takes up more real estate. So if somebody's scrolling along, that might catch their eye a little bit better.
So you're saying if you have a landscape like a 4x6 or 8x12 format.
2-3, yeah.
2-3, thank you. It's going to be too long. It's going to look small.
It's going to look small on there.
So you want to fill up that
You want to take up as much of the real estate as you possibly can. If you're, you know, and that doesn't mean you have to do that every single time, but it certainly helps grab people's attention a little bit better because phones are still small. As big as they've gotten, they're still small. And that's just more of their phone that image is taking up.
Okay.
So that, you know, those would be some things. doing your stories, you know.
And what do you put in a story?
I do.
I was terrified to do a story when the girl started working with me. She's like, you have to start doing stories. I'm like, stories? What's that? You know?
Yeah.
And I still have only done like 1 or 2 of them.
Okay.
Because it's like.
It's anything. You know, I was on my way down here and I did a video while I had my phone locked into a certain place, so I wasn't. But I did a little video where I pushed the button and took a video saying, hey, I'm going down to Peggy Farron's Understand Photography show.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then I, you know, put your name on it, your handle, and the Understand Photography handle, and where I was at, and you know, all those little, like the geo tags, putting the location matters.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, so you take a video of yourself.
In that instance, yeah.
But it's not a live video. It's
No,
just
just
going
a
onto
video.
your phone,
Yep.
and then you pulled over.
Sure.
And then you hashtagged and did all that stuff. So you put the location.
Yeah.
You tagged me personally and my business.
Yeah.
Do I have 2 accounts?
You have Peggy Farron and Understand Photography.
Okay.
If I hope. I hope I got the right people. Yeah.
I think I did start
Yeah.
with a personal, and she told me to do. Okay. So the location is important.
Mm-hmm.
You
Because
tagged me, so does it show up on my
Yes.
page,
Yes.
or just does it show up to me?
It shows up, it shows up in your stories, and now you have the option to forward that story on if you want to. So if I do a story, I tag you or anybody, then there's the option you'll see it in your stories, which you kind of, you know, you have to go to this place on the Instagram page, and it'll give you it'll say, add this to your story. So then you can do that too. And all of those things, if somebody does add it to their story, that helps. If somebody comments, it's all part of the algorithm. If somebody comments on the story, that helps. If you do like a poll where, you know, should I do this? Do you like this? Whatever it is.
Should I wear green socks
Right,
or
right.
reds?
You know,
go like this. Show off your fancy socks.
It's hard to bend my leg up.
Come
because I hurt
on,
my
you
knee,
need to
but
take
there's my
yoga.
socks. I do. But I ripped my MCL, so yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's a good excuse.
Yeah, and a true one.
All right, so I have a timeout. Heather, you got my phone? Why don't you do that? Forward the story. That's what it's called.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, just adding it to your story.
Add it to my story.
Yeah.
Why not? To my Understand Photography story. Right. Since I didn't know I had a personal account.
You do, yeah. You know, but those are all little things that, and you know, how do you get started in this day and age? It's a lot harder. You know, I refuse to pay for any kind of, like, for my stuff to be seen, because that's not what it was. That's not what I understood it as. I refuse to, like, use any kind of third-party app that likes things for you, or
yeah, but that's illegal anyway,
ads.
right?
Yeah, yes, it is. And if they find out you're doing that, they don't
You're
like
just
that
kicked
at
right
all.
off, right? Don't
Well,
you?
not kicked off, but they'll definitely do things. There's something out there called a shadow ban, where if they catch you doing certain things that they don't like, maybe your hashtags just can't be seen by anybody else. They won't show up. Like if you go to search that hashtag, you won't find your photo in that. So there's little other things that they'll do.
You get
but
punished.
yeah, if you're too spammy, they'll definitely throw you right off if they think you're a bot, like not a person, basically.
Yeah.
A computerized account that just likes things and comments on things and tries to say, you know, hey, check out our business on everybody's
That's what
picture
everybody's.
or
That's
whatever.
that's what most of my comments are.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And they will find those and throw those off. The problem is you know, if you try to do things legitimately and organically, there's a fine line between what they think is spam and what the algorithm sees as spam, and what is legal, is legit, is what you're just trying to do. So there's this fine line, and sometimes you get kind of flagged, I guess you'd say.
Okay.
You know, so it's tough these days. I
So
think.
now the scheduling ones are okay though, right?
As far as I know, schedule. Now, I don't personally do that because I basically post at the same time every night. Again,
You do it at night?
just about when my kids go to bed. Yeah, it's not about.
because you got
There's
the-
no real rhyme or reason for that time. It's just about somewhere between 8:30 and 9 o'clock every night. Or when I do post lately, I haven't been posting every day by any means. Sometimes I'll go a week without. But
Really?
yeah.
But mostly, I mean, to gain that following, you were posting once a day?
To get there, yeah. And then, but also when you get that amount of followers, it becomes harder. You get a lot more comments that I try to respond to. You get a lot more.
Comments are hard to respond to, all the comments.
Yeah, it's really difficult. But, I try to do it. I try to do it because if somebody took the time to say something and seemed like they were legit.
Do you respond to the spammy ones?
No.
Like, please check out our page?
No, I don't. Absolutely not.
So you just ignore it?
I just kind of ignore those, yeah.
Okay.
Like, yeah, if it's something that's just blatantly they're doing that, no, I'm not going to respond to that.
Okay.
Or sometimes I'll make a response that's like, no.
No.
just to be a smart aleck, but yeah, sometimes I'll do that.
But you know what? I don't know. I haven't looked into Instagram that much, but I know on YouTube that even any comments count. So if you said the no, that would actually count as another comment.
That is another thing. The comments do count. The amount of comments
so maybe I
that you
should be
get
saying
count.
no to all those people who are spamming me.
You responding to those comments is a big part of it right now.
So that was.
So
So your no is good.
What's that?
I like your advice.
No is not that great, but 4 words or more is good.
Okay.
4-word responses or more it counts as engagement, from what I understand.
Yeah, because most of mine are like a little icon,
A little emoji
nice
or something.
photo,
Yeah. Yeah. They count as far as, my understanding of what they consider to be engagement that they will add to the algorithm is comments of 4 words or more, and then you responding to those comments with, some sort of thoughtful. So like if I said, hey, thank you very much, right? That's 4 words.
Hey, thank you very much.
Actually 5. There you go. So if I wrote that and then copied and pasted it into everything, they won't like that either. They want them to be distinct.
It's different.
Right. Yeah. So it's very tough.
They're sneaky, man. Those computers, they know everything.
Yeah. It's a pain in the butt.
All right. So if somebody's starting out, is once a day enough, do you think?
I mean, yeah, I think so. I think they do prefer it to be in a 24-hour cycle if possible.
Okay.
Twice a day is better, to be honest with you. They like that consistency. They want to see people on their app. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they'll reward you for that.
Now, so what I've been doing is just trying to get I have been getting the 30 pictures to Melisha is her name. Hi, Melisha. And she posts them. She looks up a quote that kind of goes with the picture. I don't have a theme to my pictures at all. I'm a typical photographer where I like everything. I've got newborn babies. I've got landscapes. I've got macro. I've got infrared. I mean, I just all over the place. I don't have any consistency. But to me, it's I don't want to put anything up that's not really good.
Sure. Yeah, that would definitely be something that's
coming
true.
up with 30 really good pictures means I have to delve into my archives because I'm not taking 30 good pictures. I'm not that I can post anyway. I mean, I'm a portrait photographer. I can't post my customers' pictures without permission. And some of them are just nice portraits. They're not really anything.
Yeah, I mean, and that's that's something where people want to see. They want to see I think my experience is from a photographer that they're going to follow that they don't know personally. They want to see a little pizzazz, something that stands out to them in some way, shape, or form. And the tendency, there's a little joke amongst other kind of Instagram people, I guess, that I've met. Instagram hates people. It is a little saying that they don't like portraits or what have you.
I can see that.
And they can be great portraits, but a lot of times it just doesn't get the same response as something that's in some way flashy.
Okay.
That's
your stuff is very awe-inspiring. That's how I found you.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it was Instagram, it might have been Facebook, but it was somebody that you went out with one day to shoot
Carrie,
with.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Who was my Facebook friend.
Yep.
And I don't even know how that led me to you, but somehow it led me to you.
We went on a trip to Cape Romano. I, tagged them and talked about them on the caption of the photo. And then his people see it as well.
Okay, so
a bunch of people saw that particular photo through Facebook. And so that was how you met me, or saw me, found me.
Yeah. All right, so Instagram stories can be anything. And I've learned now that I watch some of them. I don't watch most of them.
Sure, yeah.
Most of them are people I don't know, first of all.
Sure, yeah.
Because somehow I'm following a lot of people I don't know. I think that the interns did that.
Yeah.
They started following people that they thought I should follow. And in fact, I've unfollowed quite a few of them because they were not the kind of people I wanted to follow, let's
Sure.
just say.
Yeah,
But the stories, of course, I watch my son's story.
Sure.
My son is a musician. He's very good at social media because he's an artist, and it's hard for artists to, you got to keep out there somehow.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
he just has, but he's funny, and I'm not funny.
Right.
He comes up with funny, creative things all the time. I'm not funny.
Well, I try to, my personal story, I try to be, like, I try to every now and again throw a funny one up there. Maybe I'll throw a photo that I won't post, or I just don't, if I post something, I want to really love it and think that it's good. And so, like, I'll post a good photo that wasn't good enough to make the cut, or there's just trying to keep it interesting. I will say that, like, you teach photography, right? And you have the Understand Photography page. So something like that, your stories might be tips. And I'm not saying something where you're giving away your class by any means.
Right, but some kind of photo tip.
Some photo tips or something. People might gravitate toward that or want to see that.
Now, if I meant the story, though, it's only there for 24 hours, right?
Yeah. You can do the other stories where you post them up there and people can kind of go along and see them kind of forever. You can make a story last longer than 24 hours if you do it a certain way. But yes, if you do your typical story, it's up for 24 hours, then it goes away.
You can't put that story in as a post as well?
You could put the story in as a post, sure. But you would do that. That would be two different places.
Two separate, opposite things doing it.
So one would be on your page or your feed or whatever people want to call it, and then one would be in your stories section.
So if I were going to do that for a story, I could just schedule it later to put on the page on my schedule, because I am using that scheduling software. Yeah.
And your story will pop out a copy of your story. So in other words, if you make a story on Instagram, that is then in your photos sitting there for you.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I think
and
that's
the
an
videos,
automatic setting. Videos, same way.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, maybe I'll take your advice on that.
Yeah.
Well, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and one of my favorite podcasts is by a guy named Pat Flynn.
Okay.
It's called Smart Passive Income.
Okay.
He has another podcast that I don't like it as well. It's called Ask Pat, but he had his Ask Pat, he played it on his Smart Passive Income podcast and it was a photographer.
Sure.
So, of course, I was interested, and it was a photographer who called in and was saying, hey, he was a fashion photographer, and he started an Instagram account. I can't remember the name of it, but it was teaching people photography.
Okay.
And got quite a big following. And now I don't know how, I don't know, they didn't go through all the ins and outs of, but I was like, ever since I started, I thought I should be doing that, putting photo tips in there, but boy, it's hard enough for me just to come up with the pictures. And then, Melisha is the one who looks up the captions, and, she comes up with these really cute quotes and things like that. So it's like, I don't know if I can do all this work on top of all my other work,
It's a lot of work. I only have time for it. I don't have time for any other social media activities. Really, it takes away a lot of time that I have for free time in general.
How long would you say you spend in a week or a day or whatever?
Man, it kind of varies because, like I said, I don't do it every day anymore. I can't spend that amount of time on a daily basis.
But when you were building it up?
But when I was, definitely to some extent several hours a day. Now, I would do it to where, like, I'm working, right? And I grab my phone and I like a bunch of stuff. I look for, people that I'm following, and I'll, make some comments and maybe throw a story on there and then put my phone down. But and then when I actually do the post, writing the caption, doing the hashtag, that takes about an hour, and then I'll sit there and respond for a while. So yeah, I put a couple hours into it
2-3 hours a day.
Each day that I actually do it for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sometimes more.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's just but I have been reaping some benefits. So
yeah, so it's a marketing strategy,
it's
but like all marketing, nothing's easy.
Yeah. It's for me. I like to call it like guerrilla marketing because I don't talk about my business.
Oh yeah.
And I don't ever try to sell anybody anything. So to me, that's just kind of my own little thing that I'm doing, I guess. Like my way of, I don't know, putting myself. I'm not good at talking about I don't want to talk about myself. I don't want to tell you to come and see me for your photos or your video. I just don't. I can't really help that. But if I put that stuff up there and people like what I do and think, oh, this guy's good, then that's a way that I can do it without, you know, being what I feel is
and
kind of
that's something that I think now that I've seen because with the Instagram stories, you know, my interns are all 20-year-olds, and they were like, their stories are like, they're like, here's me in a bikini, here's me with a duck face, here's me with, you know, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, no. The stories are kind of a younger thing. The Snapchat in general, right? That's what the stories are based off of. That's why they put it on there, because they were losing, you know, people to Snapchat, and so they did something that was identical. But that's a younger generational thing where people can just, you know, they pop something up that happens or is happening or whatever, they put it on there, and whoever sees it, then it goes away after 24 hours, and it can be a little bit more about like, hey, here I am at the beach, you know, at the bar, at the wherever. That's just a younger person's thing, I think.
It's interesting, though, because what you did on the way here, we had another guest who actually, I think we talked about some type of social media with him. We were talking about blogging with him, right? Eden Chavez. He was really good. But he came over from Miami.
Okay.
And he did a little video. I'm heading over to Understand Photography for an interview. Then he comes in here. He sets up a little video camera. So he took a video of himself being interviewed.
Yeah.
Then he and Joe went to the sunset to shoot sunset. He took more video. I'm here with Joe Fitzpatrick, and here we're doing the sunset. And he put it on YouTube. And of course, it was a lot about my company, so it made me extra interested. But it was interesting to watch him. You know, I always think, oh, I don't want people. It's not that I want people. Don't worry about people thinking I'm self-absorbed. I feel self-absorbed when I do that kind of thing. Like, who cares what I'm doing right now? You know what I mean? It's like, But I guess if I like watching it,
well, I considered taking my phone and making a live video of this whole thing on Instagram for the first time ever. But I just don't. I hate going. I don't want to be on a live video. I mean, I could sit here and talk to you, but I don't want to put it on like I'm doing a lot. Like, I'm not that important is what I feel like. You know what I mean?
I guess
I
that's
definitely see where you're coming from on that. Yeah.
But I'm getting better. I mean, I didn't used to like to do this. Now this is like not. I like doing this now. You know. But it was if it was so interesting to me when somebody else did it, then it can't be all bad, right?
Right. Yeah. No. And it is interesting, and people are interesting, especially, you know, that's the whole thing. Interesting. I guess it's like
behind the scenes almost.
That's a key word. Yeah. And stories are often behind the scenes things. Like a good photographers that I follow. And I don't look at a lot of stories. I'll be honest with you, 'cause I just don't have the time.
I know.
But a lot of times they'll be like their stories will be, here's how I created an image. Here's an editing technique that I use. It's them, you know, like maybe they took a video of them editing a photo and put it in fast forward, you know, and here's how it went from the raw file to what I posted. And those things are interesting to people. People want to see that stuff, I think, so.
That's why I wouldn't want to lose my stories in 24 hours. Because when she said you lose it in 24 hours, I'm like, I'm going to put all that work in there and then lose it in 24 hours?
Yeah. It's
but
a
if
pain
you
in
can
the
save
butt.
it and make a post,
You
then
can
you
save
don't
it and
lose
make a post. You can also, they have a little section where you can make, can I bring up my phone here and just actually show you while I do this? There's a little section where you can.
Let me get my glasses on.
See, these are right here, like full-time stories. I'm not going to play one for you. You can check that, but you can add a story and make it a full-time thing that people can also check out. Mine don't make any sense. I'm terrible.
Do you know what they're called?
Highlights.
Highlights, because I do have those on there because she set that up for me.
Yeah.
So she had I think I took it down because I was, you know, we're doing a Cuba trip actually next month.
Yeah.
And it sold out. Sorry. But we're going to do another in February 2020. Joe Fitzpatrick will be leading it. Anyway, I got to get my commercials in. But anyway, she had a Cuba, you know, like pictures of Cuba and the date and stuff like that. That was highlights. That's what she had. That she had something about the 4 weeks to proficiency in photography, our class that we sell often. Mm-hmm. I forget. She put like 4 highlights up there that are up there permanently. But I took the Cuba one down just because the thing has been sold out for a long time. So.
But those are good things. I
But
mean,
yeah,
that
that's
would be
called,
a good thing that
so
you want
those
to
are
have
like
up there.
stories, but they're not really stories.
Right.
They're highlights.
They're more highlights, yeah, and they can be a little bit. I think they could be a little bit longer than the stories. Then you have IGTV too. You know about that?
No, I
That's
know
like
nothing.
their.
I know nothing.
Really? That's like their video platform. So like, the stories is a 15-second story. That's what you can do is 15 seconds, and then you could do a longer story, and it just turns into another story.
Oh, I've seen that because my son does those, where
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
he's
yeah.
got like 8 segments to it or something.
Yeah, yeah, and actually that's not a bad thing to do because it counts each one of those as a story that you did that day, which Instagram, kind of likes. But IGTV is like almost, I'd almost call it like their attempt at being YouTube to an extent.
Okay.
It's a video platform. It's a vertically based video platform.
Oh, Joe Fitzpatrick hates that.
Oh, I hate it too. So I just it's a 16 by 9, but actually 9 by 16, so the other way. So I just take them and turn them sideways, and then people just have to turn their phone sideways. But they want you to
They want
put
you to
on
shoot
vertical.
vertically.
Yeah. It's like, I don't like doing
Oh,
that.
I have a good vertical one because he got mad at me. But I was at, we go, one of the things we do, not too much in the winter, but in the summer we do boat tours to Cape Romano to the dome homes to photograph the dome homes. And one time we were out there and this manatee, it just was fascinated with us. And
Okay.
the water was real clear that day, so everybody's taking pictures, but I took a video, which was way better than photographs. The photographs of a manatee underwater are not that fascinating.
yeah.
But when you saw him like looking at us
Coming
and
up,
making the movements, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably a 30-second video, which is a long video. You're a videographer, that
Yeah,
30
yeah.
seconds can be a long time, but it was so cool.
Yeah.
That would be, and it was vertical because he was.
Oh, it'd make a great IGTV, and it's another thing they want.
Now,
I
how do
don't
you
do
post?
that many.
Where do you post those? How do I do that?
You go onto Instagram, and there's a little.
I've
your
never
little-
seen that. That's why I'm wondering.
Well, I'm not gonna. It's on your like homepage, and then you go to.
Dead silence, by the way.
Yeah, dead silence.
For
I'm
the
not
audio-
gonna go into that real quick because I have to actually look for where it's at. But it's a thing that if you go into your menu, there's an IGTV section, and you can add. I think the videos can be up to 10 minutes.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody do one of those. Do
Well,
they show up in your feed, or?
It was a thing that they came out with not too long ago, and they came out real hot with it. You know what I mean? Like it was this great new feature they were adding, and I don't think people use it that much. If you want to know the God's honest truth, I don't think that people are using IGTV a whole bunch. Now, I just put a bunch of a video up of a bunch of birds flying in slow motion during this recent windstorm that we had. We were staying in Captiva. And these birds were flying in this pattern together, and I filmed it in 120 frames, and I turned it sideways and put it up, and a whole bunch of people saw it.
But that was IGTV.
But that was on IGTV, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to look into that. Well, the reason that I started this show, and we've changed the format slightly, but we were started as a Facebook Live show because they were all, we're going to show it to everybody who likes your page and, push anytime you do a video. And I think they did start off that way, and then now it's like, yeah, you got to pay if you want anybody to see it.
Yeah. Was it you or her that said about the drug dealers? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like what they did. Give you a free sample, and then they're doing that with Instagram too, where, yeah, we gave you that, now you want to pay for it. Now we need you to pay for it.
They get you hooked.
Yeah.
You're addicted.
Yeah.
I got to check my Facebook, check my Instagram every day, and now it's like, okay, but you got to pay.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to pay. Okay, let's see. Heather came up with all these great questions that we already went through. All right, this is a good question. Should we be listing types of equipment and the settings that were used to create the images?
Okay, so I do on specifically the astrophotography or Milky Way photos or whatever, night sky, whatever you want to call it, because that's something that I got a lot of interest. A lot of my following is people that followed because of that type of photography.
Because they want to do that kind of photography.
They want to do
but
it.
theirs
They
isn't
think
coming
it's
out as good as
interesting.
yours.
Right, and so I was getting, and I don't want to sound like this is a brat. I was getting nonstop direct messages about, hey, what were your settings? What were your settings? What were your, and I felt bad that a lot of the people I couldn't respond to.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people I tried to respond to was taking a tremendous amount of time, so I started putting my settings up.
Okay.
And I started listing not exactly specific types of equipment, But definitely my settings, definitely the camera that I used. And I found that I got a lot less questions about it, and a lot of people being thankful about that.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a little lesson, you know. And if I get any more of a DM saying, "Hey, what else can I do?" I'll usually just say, "You kind of need to Google that, or just go out and try, because I can't write that in this direct message. I can't teach you that class."
Yeah.
You know, but and then there are also, I put Sony on all of my photos because there are a lot of Sony hubs that they're dedicated to featuring Sony picture shot with Sonys.
Okay.
But you have to say that it has to say somewhere on there the type of camera it was shot with. So Sony A7R whatever, A6300, A6000, whatever it is, they want to see that before they're going to actually show it to other people.
All right, so let's talk about that, because you obviously want the attention of Sony, and Sony might share your pictures on their. How do you share an Instagram photo? I don't know how to share a photo.
Well, the way most people will do it is to take a screenshot, crop it, and repost it. That's the most simple way, yeah.
You can't just share like you can on Facebook.
You can send it to people. No, not the same way. There are reposting apps that you sort of can do that, but it puts their little icon on there and their information.
So if you got Sony's attention, how does that help you?
Well, I got, if I got a picture on the Sony Alpha Hub, for instance.
But how do you get it on their hub if they can't
well, they'll
share it?
contact me. They can. If you tagged them, that's what hashtagging and hard tagging, which is when you tag like somebody on the photo itself. So you're kind of giving them permission then to share it. You're saying, I want you to see this. So I put Sony Alpha, a hashtag Sony Alpha on all my photos. If they're looking for somebody to feature, they may find my photo. Now with Sony Alpha, they won't just use it because they're so big, right? They won't just repost it, screenshot it and share it or whatever. They'll contact you, ask you for the original, ask for your permission, and then they'll show it on their hub. But their hub is multi-million,
views, yeah.
people that, then get thousands and thousands and thousands of views that then helps you grow. And that's happened for me,
So now you're tagging them or hashtagging them?
Both.
Both,
yeah.
So you're tagging their page with the little @sign thing.
Yeah, sometimes.
And sometimes.
But I always hashtag.
But you always hashtag. Yeah. Okay. So
and there's some Sony fan pages too. There's one called Sony Images that's really big. There's one called Sony Alphas Club that's really big, and they're not. They may be in some way affiliated with Sony because they have those pages, but they're not official Sony people by any means. But people are following those pages because they are Sony people. They want to see those Sony photos. People think Sony makes a great camera, I guess. And so, like, if you get it on there, that's good for you too. It's all about, that's how you're growing your following. People seeing your photos there.
What other companies or what other like that could you tag?
I mean, I suppose you could, I'm not real great about this, if your lens is a Sigma lens, I'm just throwing out a name, by the way. It could be a Tamron, it could be a million lenses, maybe you tag them. If you're using a certain type of bag, there's camera, Temba, Low Pro, whatever, right? And you tag them. If you're using filters, like I use a Lee 10-stop filter, so maybe I would tag Lee filters on a photo that I used, that I did a 10-minute photo using a 10-stop ND filter.
Okay.
Something like that. So, you can do that with all of your equipment and try to get their attention.
And you've done, though, like I'm going from memory, and maybe I'm wrong, but have you tagged like we talked that you got the attention of Sanibel Captiva Chamber of Commerce? Is that who?
Yeah.
Did you tag them ever in any
pictures?
I'd
actually
or tag Sanibel?
Yeah.
Tourist information.
Fort Myers Sanibel is the initial page. That is the Lee County Visitors Bureau.
Okay, that's what I was looking for.
The thing is actually called the Beaches of Fort Myers Sanibel. Their page is Fort Myers at Fort Myers Sanibel.
Have you ever tagged them?
Yeah, I worked for them. I did a resident artist program for them for 3 or 4 months. And that's that's probably really how I got Sanibel and Captiva's attention, was through doing something for
One
the
of
county.
the artists.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So
you
what
want
other,
to tag your local Florida pages if you want to have Florida people see your photos. There's a bunch of great hubs for Florida out there, you know. So if they repost a photo of whatever in Florida, could be a sunset, could be a million things. But then, you know, a lot people really love Florida photos, by the way. We're in a great place for photography.
We're so lucky, aren't
Yeah,
we?
yeah. So, you know, and there's lots of people all over the country and world and everything that follow Florida-based hubs because they want to see that type of photography.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine from San Francisco contact me to buy a lightning photo that he thought was cool, that he saw on a Florida hub, contacted me, didn't know it was me.
And it was your
And
friend?
then he was like, wait a minute, is this Rob Hoovis?
Ah.
Oh my God, I wanted to buy this because I saw it on this other place. And he's a friend of mine.
That's a weird small story,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it?
And he bought it, by the way,
Oh,
which
good.
was really cool. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay, so what other strategies would you tag? Like, can you tag like National Geographic, or is that
Sure.
you can
sure.
do that kind of stuff?
Yeah, you can tag National Geographic,
Because
NASA.
that seems to be everybody I know wants to be. Oh, they want National Geographic to feature them somehow.
Nat Geo actually has a thing called Nat Geo Your Shot. So if you're not like a preferred Nat Geographic photographer, somebody that kind of works for them, tagging their page isn't all that helpful. Tagging Nat Geo Your Shot, that would be helpful. And then you
Okay.
could submit, they have a website where you could submit some of your photos to them as well. So that's like you submitting to Nat Geo. So those are two ways to get their attention. So yeah, you could
But
do
you
that.
could do like, you know,
anything.
what are
NASA,
some? Yeah, anything that you.
my buddy, you know, have you Ice-T, the rapper?
Yeah.
My buddy Aaron, I'm gonna look around at the cameras when I say that, somehow mentioned Ice-T, the rapper. Called him out by name, tagged him on the photo. I can't remember what it was related to. But Ice-T liked it.
Oh my.
And he was, you know, like either liked it or commented back or something, and that was really cool. You know, Ice-T's like a mega type
No
star.
kidding.
You know, so I don't know if you want to make a habit of constantly tagging just like stars or anything.
Yeah,
like
you
that,
don't want to
but-
become like a stalker.
Right, yeah, exactly. But you can certainly, and you always want to mix up your hashtags. I didn't mention that earlier. You don't want to use the same hashtags over and over.
Oh, good
That's
to
a big
know.
one. Yeah, that's a real big one. If you were to use the same hashtags within a 24-hour period, they see that as kind of spammy.
Wow.
Yeah. So like on your page, for instance, that's kind of one I forget. There's so many little rules. My apologies if I don't remember them
Yeah,
all.
of
But
course.
yeah, you don't want to. You want to kind of try to mix up your hashtags to an extent.
Yeah, that's interesting because I don't know if she does or not, because one of the interns set it up where she saved the hashtags.
Yeah.
Like, this is good for this type of picture, this is good
Right.
for landscape type of picture, this is for portraits, this is for whatever.
And if you're kind of varying your photos and putting those varying hashtags on there, then
Yeah.
that's probably fine. But if you were
But
like,
some
let's
of them
say,
will always be the same, you know?
if they've just saved them, like let's say if you did a sunset and then the next day you had another sunset, just for instance, and those
2 days in a
you're
row.
going to notice, I almost bet you money you would notice the second photo didn't do as well
Ah.
because they just don't like that, you know. So yeah.
Wow. God, there is so much to
There's
it,
a
isn't
lot
there?
to it. Yeah.
All right, now you help moderate a couple of sites apart from your own personal feed, is that true?
Yes.
So, what, like Rome, Florida, what is that?
Rome, Florida is a page that was started by two people, but it's owned by a woman named Hannah, who just features interesting Florida photos. You know, and
Okay.
it's one of a number of Florida-based hubs. But her thing, she's got kind of it's not a gimmick, but a theme that she does history. So every time if we feature a picture from Miami, we look for good photos. It needs to be a good photo first and foremost, right? From some photographer that tagged us. So then we'll screenshot it and repost it because they tagged us. They're giving us permission.
Okay.
And then if it was about Miami, we'll write a history lesson of some sort on Miami, or if it was about Sanibel or any area really, put something historically based as the caption.
And,
So yeah.
And how did you, this is a free job you do for free?
Yeah, I do it once a week, if that. I mean,
And how did that come?
They asked me. I was just asked by, you know, it's more of, it's beneficial because people see that you moderate for them, or they see that on the photo that you posted. Here's the photographer, here's the person that chose it. So it's mutually beneficial, and it's not a lot of work. I spend about 20 minutes on that
So
anytime that I
and
do
you
it.
just go through whoever tagged you. That's the only way they find photos?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you go through your hashtags. You can go through the hard tags too, but the woman who owns it, prefers that you do that they have hashtagged it.
Oh, because it's like permission.
Right.
Good. That's a good point.
Yeah,
And does it have a lot of followers, that group?
It's like 51 or 52,000. It's
So
pretty
yes.
good. Yeah, I mean that's a lot. You know, there's Florida hubs with more. There's Florida hubs with less.
Yeah.
But
the historical stuff, I would like to.
historical stuff is cool. I
I'm
always
really
thought it was
interested in
really-
that kind of stuff. I love that. We do
Yeah.
a photo tour to, the Apalachicola area,
Okay.
and because it's like old Florida, it's so
Yeah,
cool up there.
Yeah.
So I'm into that. I'm gonna start following that. What about Instagrammers, IGers, Fort Myers?
That IGers Fort Myers is really that's mine.
You
now.
started that?
I did not start it. No, somebody named Jolene and two ladies, one named Jolene, one named Heather, and I forget their handles as of right now. But they started that page, and they were actually from Minnesota, and they kind of had to stop just because they could no longer. They were from Minnesota, moved down here.
Oh.
Noticed that Fort Myers didn't have its own kind of like dedicated page, and most cities do. And so started something, but couldn't do it because it is work,
Yeah.
and you have to get people to help you, and they're doing it for free, and it's hard to keep up with. But that's something I just do to showcase some of the people that are taking nice pictures in our area. It doesn't do much for me personally. It's got 1,400 followers. I'd love to see Fort Myers have like kind of a bigger. We have a beautiful area. I'd love to see people really taking cool pictures in our area more.
Okay, Joe Fitzpatrick, you live in Fort Myers. He just started his own Instagram.
Okay.
I don't know, recently. So
Okay.
now you have to
tag
tag
IGers Fort Myers.
IGers Fort Myers.
Yeah.
All right, what else do we need to talk about? What are we missing?
Captions.
Oh, yeah, captions.
What about them?
What about them?
Well, I think you might want to know if they're important or useful or what have you. I have found that some people will look up an interesting quote, like you said. That's a big thing to do. I personally try to. I kind of have a couple of different things I do. Sometimes I'll write about. It's always about the photo. Sometimes I'll write something that I feel like a life. I don't know. I'm forgetting exactly how I would put
Like
this,
something,
but
how it inspired you?
Something that
or-
inspired me, or something that I feel is an important life lesson of some sort, or something like that. So, other times, if it's a night sky thing, I usually put the story of the photo.
Like
so
it was
I'll write a
freezing
whole
cold
thing.
that day. Because now I'm remembering reading
Yeah.
stuff like that
And
from
people
you.
seem to really respond to that. I always thought no one reads captions, and a lot of people don't. Like they just scroll and like your photo or not. But when I started putting more personalized things on there, or if I started putting more informational things on there, whatever it was, sometimes it's funny, trying to be funny, but I get a response, a better response. I'll get somebody responding to the caption, and not so much even the photo, maybe.
Okay.
So I think it's good. I think it's useful. It makes it a lot harder.
Yeah.
It makes it more time consuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because just coming up with the 30 photos is all I'm doing, and it's hard for me.
Yeah.
And then she spends the time to look up quotes, and I mean,
Sure.
it's not like it takes a lot of time per picture, and she only does it once a month.
Right.
So I think it takes her 2 hours a
Okay.
month. I mean, it's really not. It takes me much longer to find the pictures than it does for her to do
Yeah.
what she does. But it's still 2 hours a month on top of the 6 hours a month that it took me to get the pictures.
Yeah.
And, it just seems like a lot. But you have to. I guess you have to decide. Okay, am I going to go after YouTube? Am I going to go after Facebook? Am I going to go after Instagram?
Yeah,
Am
I
I going to
mean,
go Twitter? What else is there?
Unless that's you. I think you hit them all pretty good.
kinda have
there's
to
other ones, but
decide.
you do have to, I think, decide. And unless you're a person that, there are absolutely people making their livings completely and 100% on social media, and those people can do multiple social media platforms. Those
Because
people
they
can
have
do,
4, 5, 6 hours a day to do
Sure,
that.
that's what they do.
Yeah.
There's people that they're getting good money from their vlog on YouTube. So they are obviously going to say something about that vlog on YouTube, on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook or what have you. So there's people that do have time to do all of those things. But to the average person, to myself that I have 2 kids, a family,
And a whole
business.
business, yeah.
I can do one. And
Yeah.
it just happens to be that I saw the value in Instagram, and it's worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so cool. All right, so what's the next big thing for Rob Hoovis?
Oh gosh, I have no idea whatsoever. To be completely honest with you, I don't know. You know, I'd like to take a trip a year. I'd like to continue taking great photos, if you want to know the truth, and time lapses and whatever. I just want to advance what it is that I like to do, and keep hopefully making, unique and in some way creative images. That's just what I love to do. It really wore me out this year. This past year, I was really out at night a lot.
Okay.
And
not getting much sleep. I remember that from our first interview. You weren't getting much sleep.
I was not getting much sleep then. I went on a trip to Utah with a friend of mine. Hi, Steven. We got there. We had 3 days. We were kind of both similar guys. We're, family guys. We have serious job. We can't just go somewhere for 2 or 3 weeks or anything like that. So we went to Utah. We were out there for 3 days and really trying to make the most of it. So I did nothing but drink caffeine drinks and eat Snickers bars. And I shut down on the last day. My body shut down. I had like almost...
Caffeine and Snickers bars would do that to you.
I had kind of a seizure. It wasn't exactly a seizure, but I started shaking and then I went to sleep. So maybe it was, but I wore myself to the point of I've never done that before.
Wow.
That
was your vacation.
That was, but it was a working vacation
Right.
to me. I wanted to, like
you wanted
Utah,
to get the images.
Is like, that's the darkest skies in America.
Yeah.
And it's like, for somebody that's doing what I'm doing, that's like, oh, wow, we're in Utah. We got to go here and here and here. And we were just never ending, and he was treating himself a little bit better. And I just noticed myself, I would snap at things, I'd get mad at things, and then that last night I just kind of like shut down, and the next morning I couldn't talk. I woke up, I had a breakfast for the first time since I've been there. My voice came back, and I felt great. So it was,
Don't abuse your body.
I wore myself out last year, so I need to try to pick and choose what I do this year a little bit better.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, that's how exhausting it could be, yeah.
But they say that successful people, they get obsessed over something, and it sounds to me like you're a little obsessed.
I'm a little obsessed, and I'm a little obsessed with doing it, well, or my way, doing what when I look at it, I'm very critical of my own stuff. People ask me, what do I think of their stuff? I think it's all great. I don't look at people's stuff.
You don't look at it with that eye, that critical eye.
Critical or critique things myself. But my own stuff, oh man, I'll just tear that apart, and it's got to be just so,
That's part of the reason it's hard for me with Instagram, because when I look at other people's pictures, I'll go, oh, well, I really have a similar picture way better than that. But then when I look to find good pictures of my own, I don't have any good pictures at all.
Right. No, I get that. I definitely see other people's stuff, and to me, it's always like, oh, that's so much better than mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's my thought process, and it probably does drive me to do something, to do what I do.
You want to be good.
Yeah, to want to be good.
And what's your website? Where can people find you?
OldSparkyPro.com.
OldSparkyPro.com.
OldSparkyPro.com. Yeah.
And we will have that in our show notes at understandphotography.com.
And that links to a photography website separate, which is on SmugMug, where prints can be purchased.
Do you know the direct one?
OldSparkyProductions.smugmug.com. But
Holy
they are
cow.
2 separate. Yeah, that's why I never say that. That's why I've linked them.
So you can't get a vanity name for that one?
I just did it that way in the beginning. They said, what do you want to name your page? And I said, Old Sparky Productions. And then it added the SmugMug, and I was like, oh wow, this was kind of a mistake. I don't know if I don't think I can change it, to be honest with you. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think they give you that opportunity, and then that's kind of it, because it's almost a URL at that point.
Yeah, it is a URL.
Purchased for you or what have you. So yeah, if I want to change it, I think I have to pay. So I've just linked it to my main website.
Yeah,
and it's
Old
really
Sparky
just one
Pro
big,
is easy.
Old Sparky Pro is easy.
Yeah.
And I do more video for work, so I kind of advertise that more.
Yeah. Okay. All right, that's cool. Thanks for being on the show.
No
and
problem.
Second time,
Thank you for
I know we're probably going to call you back if you don't mind.
Well, hey, keep
You're
having
such
me
a
back.
great
Yeah.
guest.
I
You're
appreciate
so
that.
full of information, and that's what we want this show to be, a teaching show, you know?
Yeah.
So.
I'm always worried. I don't know that I did, if I can answer the question. I wasn't nervous this time. Last time I was extremely nervous.
It's not that bad.
It wasn't that bad, yeah. But the first time was like
yeah.
I'd never really. I'd done a few little things here and there, but I never sat down and did this interview. And I was like,
last
oh my
time
God,
we
am I
were
gonna answer
live
these?
too.
Yeah, maybe that's why. Maybe that helps too.
Because
I'm
this
sure
one
it
now
does.
we're recording, you're a little safer.
Yeah.
But you did good. We won't cut anything out.
Okay. Maybe that one pause where I was looking for IGTV and you said silence. That might be a good one to cut.
Maybe we'll see. Thank you for watching the Understand Photography Show. I'm Peggy Farron. Join us next week where, now that I'm going to cut because I was like, just lost my mind.
Join us next week for more.
Thank you for watching the Understand Photography Show. I'm Peggy Farron. See you next week.